All right, guys. Hopefully this live will go better than the last one because I made one earlier, but I found out that my microphone wasn't turned on. So now I'm just checking that my microphone is on. But anyways, earlier today or earlier this evening, I was driving to the pier to which I was promptly rerouted because it felt like the pier was actually cut off to the public, even though Google Maps said I could go to the pier, but I wasn't able to. So the policeman turned me around. So I really hope this mic is actually working because earlier when I did this, the mic wasn't working. So if any of you are watching and live right now, I actually put in the chat so that you know that the mic is working. But anyways, I wanted to go through something that I was listening to. So I'm listening to Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titan, which is a good book that I really suggest everyone should read. And one of the things that there are a couple points that he went through that really touched me deeply, and I wanted to go through with you. In this time of pandemics where we have stress, fear, and anxiety, he posed a question, and it was actually a question that Jamie Foxx lived by whenever he was stressful or fearful, and he still exuded confidence. Tim asked, like, how do you do that? How do people other than him recognizes that of Jamie Foxx, that even when he's fearful, he exudes confidence. So why fear, why stress, and why anxiety? Why do we have those feelings? And what's on the other side of that? On the opposite side of that? Well, on the opposite side of fear, of stress, of anxiety is really nothing. So that was something that flipped my thinking because I thought about that before, but I thought I was weird. But he actually makes a lot of sense because we stress, we fear, we feel anxious about things that does not feel right to us. It's uncomfortable. We don't know about the unknown. So what happens is we never ask the question, what's on the other side of that? So really, on the other side of that is really nothing. So we're just stressing, feeling anxious, feeling fearful for nothing. Or it could just be based on our assumptions, which are assumptions. They're not real until we have the facts that make them real. So that goes on to say that everything is going to be all right, regardless of something bad happened to you, like your boyfriend or your girlfriend left or your business failed. Are you going to die from those events happening? No, not really. That usually does not happen. So you're going to live another day, you're going to fight another day, and that should give you hope to struggle on. And I've been through that. A bunch of people other than myself have been through that. When you have, like, for example, the worst thing that happened to me is when I was naive and I was completely madly in love with this girl. But then it was completely one-sided. So, that situation where you're completely enamored with someone, but you later find out that they're not interested in you at all. That completely wrecks you, and that wrecked me. But I really needed that because I was naive and I learned a lot from it. So it was a much needed lesson. But that goes on to say that even though you don't see the silver lining now, if you just let time pass and let things happen, everything is going to be all right. And leading on to that is that you could take two paths from that happening. You could either be really jaded and you could just blame the other person for all the bad and negative things that you're feeling right now, or you could look for the silver lining, which is what I try to do all the time right now. Whenever something bad happens, I will try to look for the silver lining, because looking for the silver lining puts my mindset in the right place, and that will make me more positive. I look for the lessons because there are really never losses. There are only lessons. But if you see things as you're losing, that it's a loss, that this person did this to me, and now I cannot ever trust anybody because everybody's the same as them, then you're jaded. And that is worse than death, because you're given this chance to be human, because there's really like 1 in 400 trillion of a chance to be human. And so that's a really low percentage. So given that, you're spending all this time being jaded when you could be more productive and do things and think about things that makes you happy. And I'm just going to say this now, that this is completely unedited and unfiltered from my normal videos, because this is live, and I guess this is how live is, right? So that being said, don't be jaded. That is worse than death. If you're feeling jaded, then find some content, like what I'm doing now to help you through that, because it's a process. You can't say, I'm going to stop being jaded and you're stop being jaded. That does not happen. You have to go through the process and really rewire the way you think. Like I have, I rewired the way I think so that now instead of being jaded, I look for the positive. I look for the silver linings in the negative things that happens to me. So that brings us on to the next point. See, these are kind of in chains. So be a sceptic, not a cynic. So once you're jaded, if you're jaded for a long time, then it's really harder for you to dig yourself out of that hole. And you'll start becoming a cynic. You'll think that everybody is self-interested. They only look out for themselves. And when you think like that, what are you going to attract? You're going to attract people that are cynics because you yourself are a cynic. If you're in a jaded place, and you're thinking that everybody is out to get you and you're self-interested, you're protecting yourself, right? So in that place, you are going to be a cynic yourself. You're trying to avoid cynics while you yourself are a cynic. So that's kind of like opposing forces there. You're kind of a hypocrite in that sense. So be a skeptic because there are bad people out there, I'm not gonna lie, but there are more good people than bad people. But if you only focus on the bad, then the bad is what is going to happen. But if you focus on the good, which not a lot of people do, because human nature, we're wired in our brains to look for the bad, look for the negative. Because in the past, our ancestors who are living in caves, if there was a saber-toothed tiger outside and it's dark and they can't see anything, of course they're going to think of the bad because the bad will kill them. But we're not in that situation right now. So we got to consciously focus our mind onto the good. So be a skeptic, but not be a cynic. And moving on to the second to last point, actually, in Tools of Titan, there was an example so that there's this 10 by 10 limitation, and that limitation will shut yourself in. So the story behind this is they had a tiger. They had this baby tiger, and from it was a baby to when it was 5 or 10, it was just kind of jailed in a prison in a 10 by 10 pen. So I think it was researchers, because this was a study, after it was 5 or 10, they released it to this bigger enclosure, and it had what we call freedom. So what do you think it did after that? It had freedom. It could go anywhere it wanted in that enclosure. It could do whatever it wanted. But what that tiger chose to do is it chose to find a small 10 by 10 pen. And you know what happened? It actually lived in that 10 by 10 pen when it had all this freedom, and it lived in that 10 by 10 pen until it died. So that goes to show that everybody, if you take a look around you, there's a lot of people living in 10 by 10 pens. There's a lot of people living within their limitations. And that's really hard to see, because it feels like a lot of people are sleeping. And I can't judge anybody for doing that, because I myself was sleeping. And it took a really hard knock on my door, a girl knocking me on my ass, and a near-death experience to bring myself to my senses. And that's what I'm trying to do now. That if you're in that place, I really hope this video reaches out to you. That if you're feeling that you're closed off, that you're in this 10 by 10 or any size of a limitation, and that you can do more, but something's just holding you back from just doing more, then I encourage you to just find a way to take action. Go journal. Every day when I journal, I have 3 things. I write down, do 3 little tick boxes, and 3 things that I want to do, that I need to do today. And I get that done every single day to move me forward. So those are things that moves me forward. That's 1 inch, because you're usually 1 inch away from making this massive change that will completely change your life, according to the book that I read. So you're just that 1 inch, or just that 3 check boxes away from making the action that you need to get out of the rut that you're in. And last but not least, I want to finish off with a role model of mine who you might know. So Tom Bilyeu, who is the founder of Quest and Impact Theory, he really helped me when I was in my rut, when I was in rock bottom and I was just looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. I was so bad that I didn't want to get up out of bed because, 1, I was heartbroken, and 2, the nightmares of my near-death experience was haunting me for a while. So he has this 25-point belief system in his Impact Theory University, which I am a part of. And one of them was, you can do anything you set your mind to. There are no limitations. And that is something that I want you to keep in mind, because once you have that in mind, then you can really just keep on going and try things, because that belief system, that belief point encourages you to try things. But I also want you to keep in mind that the belief system point, the point after that belief, is that belief of you can do anything you set your mind to without limitations, that's actually a lie. But that's an empowering lie, because it's an empowering lie because it encourages us to do and believe that which empowers us. And that's all I want you to do, because we want to do whatever we can and believe whatever we can that empowers us, because it moves us forward. So those are just some thoughts that was running through my head, and I wanted to make this video, which I made earlier and was probably much better, but I wanted to remake this video with sound this time so that you can get a little bit of a mindset shift, hopefully, on this Sunday on something that might help you if you're feeling that you're in a rut during this really tough time of coronavirus pandemics and stuff. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling fearful, then know that it's not just you. There's a lot of people that are in the same situation, but you can take steps. You could take steps to get out of your 10 by 10 limitation pen. And you could take steps by just journaling every day, doing 3 check boxes every single day, and 3 things that you have to complete that day. And once you complete that, then you're taking the 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch forward to completely change your life. So build step by step, because at the end of the year, you'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish. But anyways, that's it for today's live. It's been 11 or 12 minutes. I hope you got something from it. If you haven't subscribed or liked this video, I don't know if you can go live videos or live videos, but if you can, please support by like. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, because all we talk about is a lot of passive income, ways to grow passive income, so you can get out of your 9-to-5 job if you're doing a 9-to-5 job and do whatever the heck you want in life. So other than that, have a good Sunday. See you guys later.